Milo, is that you?
There, I think I got it. Are you ready, Bruce?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, let's turn off our cameras and we'll ask our guests to remain silent until we introduce them from the green room. So with us tonight is this is an unusual crew. It's a highlight. It's probably a throwback crew.
All right.
I just opened a beer.
I heard a Pop Top doing something there, but I figured maybe it was a soda. But you got the adult soda.
I've had one of those days.
Ah, yes.
You know, where it's not a horrible day, but somehow just putting on your pants seemed to annoy the crap out of me. Or putting on my pants seemed to annoy your
yeah,
pants.
exactly. And be on my pants. I can see how my pants might annoy the crap out of you. But
So that's Bruce, the moderately agitated mail boy, right there.
It is.
And then we have our buddy David Start.
Hello, everyone.
One of the Start brothers.
Yes.
The Start boys. You don't want to be screwing around with the Start boys.
No.
Have you heard that one yet, David?
Yes, I have.
What was that on? I forget now.
That was a Martin one that Martin was on.
Okay.
They all start to run together.
They do, don't they? Especially during the month of April of 2020 when I did like a bunch of them and they all ran together, and that seemed like such a noble effort. And it was a noble effort until about 3 weeks in when I was just getting like, I can't talk no more to nobody.
Well, it was appreciated by all, I'm sure.
Yes, I believe it was.
Indeed it was.
So tonight, David, the reason you're here, the reason you've joined us, we would prefer if you would join us all the time, but you hate the sound of your own voice.
Right.
And what you need to know, David, as time has gone by, I'm not particularly appreciative of my own voice.
Sometimes we aren't either.
Oh, that's a smoker down the third baseline.
No, you know what? I turned and I took that one right in the back, just above the belt. So yes, David, the reason you're here is because you've insisted for months, even years, possibly since the late 90s, that we have to talk to Chris Costello.
Correct.
And when he gets in here, I'm going to make a confession to the whole world.
Okay.
All right.
Somebody, Bruce, can you get him?
I think we should go get this. David's idea. I think David should go get him.
Yeah, David, go get Chris out of the green room, would you?
Okay.
Boy,
Chris, wake up!
Hey, oh, yeah.
Come on,
sorry,
it's time.
Sorry, I was taking a nap. I'm on my way.
Okay.
It's time.
It's time.
You're pretty light on your feet, David.
Yeah, that's me, Mr. like walking on a cloud.
It's like a cat.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Chris.
A really big one.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
We used to have a couch there.
Well, that's all right. I brought my own folding chair.
Yeah, because it seemed to have just dissolved.
Yeah.
So now there's a really weak spot in the floor, so just don't go over to that part of the studio.
All right. Yeah, I'll set my chair up over here.
Yeah, set up over there. So, Chris, we're hoping that you're going to be really, really interesting because David has been singing your praises for months.
Well, I hope I'm interesting. So.
Yeah, sort of. And I'm having one of those days, so I could tune out pretty quickly if you're not.
So you think it's like 50-50 at the best, Lionel?
Yeah, 50-50 at the best. So, have no idea why I'm having one of those days. I just am. So today is actually the day we're recording this is Cinco de Mayo Day.
Yep.
And I need to make a confession to the world. And I hope you guys don't take this the wrong way. I hope you're not offended. I hope you guys will choose to still be friends of mine. I'll completely understand if you don't. But I have no idea what Taco Tuesday is. Several people have mentioned to me about Taco Tuesday, and I have No idea. And apparently it's got something to do with Cinco de Mayo Day.
No, I think Taco Tuesday was started by Taco Bell. You're supposed to go there and have tacos on Tuesday. But coincidentally, this year, Taco Tuesday is also Cinco de Mayo Day. So you get your Mexican food on your Mexican holiday.
Oh, is that what it is? I knew Cinco de Mayo was some sort of a Mexican holiday.
Yeah,
because what would you do if the May 5th fell on a Thursday?
I don't know. Everybody seemed to be all excited that it was Taco.
Because they coincide. It's like the planets aligned.
Yeah, Bruce is right. It's just that everything coincided together this year.
Oh, okay. Just like the four of us.
At least something worked this year.
Yeah. Just like the four of us happened to be in the same room at the same time.
That's right.
Yeah. And so Taco Tuesday is just Taco Bell night?
I believe that's how it got started.
Oh, okay.
I'm efforting.
Where's the beef night? Is that today's the day? I saw Wendy's is running out.
I would think that would be on a Wednesday.
Yeah. Wendy's is running out of hamburgers, and they played that. Somebody played that old commercial. Where's the beef?
That's funny.
Yeah. So thanks for showing up. Well, I guess that's our show for tonight.
All right. Well, thanks for having me. It was been a good time.
So here's a lot. David, give us an idea of where we should start with Chris.
Where to start with Chris? Well, I'll start where I started. Erie 1.
What is Erie? What is Erie 1?
My first encounter with Chris was him doing a presentation in front of an Erie Lackawanna Historical Society get together, explaining about how he had just purchased Erie 1, which is the Erie business car.
That is right. I when you started saying that, I was thinking about a different presentation, but I did get up and talk about Erie 1, just asking for help about any of its history, because at the time it was new to me. But Erie 1 is the the business. Well, it's Erie business car number 1. It was reserved for the president of the railroad. And I had this brilliant idea to buy it and start restoring it. And I'm not sure that was so brilliant after all, but it's part of my life now, and it's not going anywhere. Well, hopefully it will be going someplace eventually, but I won't be getting rid of it.
So it was originally owned by the Erie Lackawanna?
Originally owned by the Erie. It was actually the only steel business car built specifically for the Erie. Erie had 5 other business cars in their fleet, but they were all bought secondhand. Erie 1 was the only one that was ordered and delivered to the Erie.
Where did the Erie was a fairly substantial railroad at one point, was it not?
Yeah. It went from basically New York City all the way out to Chicago, and several branch lines along the way.
And do we have a dates of operation?
Oh boy, you might have to help me on this one, David. It was
I'm going to say 1850s to
until
1960.
Yeah, 1850 something ish. And of course, it went through various name changes and everything, but ultimately it was always the Erie.
1832 to 1960.
Okay, we were a little off. So. Aren't we both members of the Erie Lackawanna Historical Society, David?
Yes, we are. Maybe even a board member. But
maybe.
I'm not in charge of history. I'm in charge of membership.
Oh yeah, how's that going, David?
We're finally caught up.
All right. Yeah. Speaking, did I pay my dues yet, David?
Yes.
Don't get him started on that, for God's sake.
Well, no, this past year,
actually, you were number 1.
I was the first one.
You were the first one.
Yeah, something went up on Facebook about renewing your membership. So I went and I got online and I paid for it, and he sent me a text and he goes, "Do you not like money?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
I had no idea that went up on Facebook. That was someone else's doing, and actually. It went up on Facebook as we were driving to the picnic in Chicago last year.
That's right.
Okay. As you were driving to the AML picnic, this went up on Erie Lackawanna business was transpiring.
Yep.
So was it possible that the Erie Lackawanna had 2,353 miles of trackage?
Sounds about right.
Yeah, give or take.
Okay, so it was a fairly substantial railroad.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, you have different sources than I do.
Okay, how far does yours say?
Mine says.
It says he's looking now. He's efforting.
Efforting. Oh, mine was in kilometers. That's what it was doing.
There you go.
2,316 miles.
Now mine's 3,727 kilometers.
Yes.
Now, was that Erie or Erie Lackawanna?
Yeah, there you go. You got to be so careful, right? Because the Erie Railroad, right? Exactly.
Well, this is Erie Railroad, so.
Okay.
Okay.
Anyhow, further to our introductory discussion, Taco Tuesday was patented in 1989 by a restaurant chain called Taco John's.
Oh.
And so he figured they were doing it, and every couple of years he sends out cease and desist letters to small restaurants who use the phrase, and so on and so forth. And Cinco de Mayo, the annual celebration on May 5th that celebrates the Mexican Army's victory over the French at the Battle of Puebla on May 5th, 1862, when the Napoleon's boys are stomping around Mexico.
Okay, I think everybody knew that.
Yeah, we all did.
Hang on a minute. Another question. Oh, yeah. And is it possible that the headquarters of the Erie Railroad was in Cleveland, Ohio?
For a period of time.
Oh, okay. For a period of time. All right. Nice.
Yeah.
All right. How about this little tidbit of information? Let's see if you can choke this one down. One of the railroads that had been featured on Model Railroader through the 90s and early 2000s was their symbol was based on the Erie Railroad symbol.
Ooh, I know.
Bruce?
That would be the world famous Allegheny and Lackawanna Southern of one Lionel Strang.
Oh, there you go. So there you go. I bet you guys didn't know that little tidbit.
Did not.
There you go.
I knew that.
Yeah. So how did you acquire? Do you mind if I ask you how much this car cost?
No, I don't. It cost me $20,000 to buy.
And what year did you buy it?
I bought it in 2016, but it had been a desire of mine for many, many years. So, what happened was when I was at Purdue in West Lafayette, Indiana, I was also in the Railroad Club, and one of our activities was we would go see Amtrak come into town at night. And one night, a private car came in and on the back of Amtrak, and everyone's like, "Oh, that's so cool!" And so we spent the next week or so deciding what car we were going to have when we got out of school. And I actually said, "Oh, well, it has to be an Erie car, and of course, it has to be Erie 1." And part of my process for deciding that was. I figured it had been scrapped many, many years before, so I'd never have to buy it. And then in 2013, I found the thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was it owned by a private individual?
No, it was owned by the French Lick Scenic Railway.
The who what?
The French Lick Scenic Railway in French Lick, Indiana.
Of course.
It was basically a museum, but it went... Go on.
I was going to say, when you spoke of Purdue, just to keep everybody up to speed, especially those living on the Gold Coast and Brisbane, Australia, and they're probably soul-bearing right now. Purdue University is, or Purdue, when you speak of Purdue, you speak of Purdue University.
Correct. Purdue University, not the Purdue Chicken Company.
Exactly. Okay, so it was okay. The railroad, the museum was called. What was it called again?
French Lick.
That was the name of the museum.
Yeah, well, it was the French Lick Scenic Railway. Yeah, no, we laughed.
Come on.
Many years.
Come on, Chris. This is tell me the truth. Like, come on, that's not.
Would I lie to you?
French Lick Scenic Railway.
Yeah, it's French Lick, Indiana. It was originally called French Lick Springs, and It's they had a lot of mineral springs around the area, and they actually had two hotels there, two major hotels for I think basically they were sanitariums, like not crazy people, but like you go, it'd be to you'd go and you'd partake in the healthy waters that were that were coming out of the ground, that basically sulfur and every other nasty smelly mineral out there.
Right.
So
okay, and so whereabouts is French Lick, Indiana? Then roughly in relation to say Indianapolis or.
Okay, from Indianapolis, it would take about 2 hours to drive there, but it's more like an hour south and then an hour kind of southwest.
Okay, so it's south of Bloomington, so it's at the bottom of Indiana.
Pretty much, yeah. I think it's about an hour from Vincennes.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's out there.
Whatever.
Yeah, I know you have no idea where Vincennes.
Yeah.
Well, how about this? About an hour from Cincinnati.
How about it's an hour from Cincinnati, about not that much farther from Louisville, Kentucky.
Yep.
Couple hours from St. Louis.
Yep. It's more like 5 hours from St. Louis.
I was just trying to help you out, Chris.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, so you found this car, and how did you find out it was for sale?
Well, it wasn't for sale, honestly. 2013, I found a picture of it online, and it was not identified as Erie 1 at all. But I had heard rumors that it was down there. So I saw the picture, I compared the window arrangement and everything. I go, I think that's it. So my best friend lives in Bloomington, Indiana. So I was talking to him. I go, next time I come to visit, we're going to go down and ride the French Lick Scenic. And he goes, okay.
Which, you know what, David and Bruce, I bet you that's probably pretty much the same reaction that everybody has when somebody says that to them.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. To their credit, it is for what they have down there, being so far out. They are, I hesitate to call it this. They are a very first class operation. They actually have a couple first class cars now. They've got a dome car and a kind of a lounge car, and they're pretty high class cars down there.
So it's on the internet, the intranet, and it's the French Lick www French Lick Scenic Railway, and it's got 391 Google reviews with a 4.5 rating. So it must be a legitimate operation then.
Oh yeah, it definitely is. It's the thing they really have going for them is in the early 2000s. Both the hotels were remodeled, but one of them was remodeled and they added a casino, and that has brought a lot of people into the area. It's if you had gone before that, French Lick was your basic backwoods Indiana town, and now it's you've got the two hotels there that are massive. They even have a little trolley going between the two hotels, it's kind of neat.
So French Lick has got two big hotels. It's a little, and it's okay in my book because they have an RS1.
They do.
Holy mackerel! I'm on my way.
Yeah, you might have to go visit. I think,
and it looks like a Jeep 9 as well.
Yep. Yeah, they've got several things down there that for a while that RS1 was their main locomotive. I think they're using the Jeep now though. Wow. Last I was down there.
You know what I should do, Bruce and David and Chris too. Wouldn't exclude you from this conversation. I should start interviewing these scenic railways and then scoring a free cab rides.
Exactly.
There you go.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Yeah. Well, I might be able to hook you up as long as I get to come for a ride too.
Okay. Yeah. The French Lick Scenic Railway. I love this podcast. This is the greatest. David, did you even know this existed?
Prior to this, prior to knowing Chris, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can charter the train, and you can get a chocolate train, a bourbon train, a Scotch train, or a rum train.
You can charter the whole train?
Apparently.
Ooh, I see.
They are open to pretty much anything down there.
I see. I'm thinking out loud here, guys.
AML barbecue / convention or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Charter the train, go for a ride, have our little ditty. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice hotel.
Well, for groups of 70 or less, we can book our cocktail train aboard the Northern Pacific Vista Home car.
Wow.
There we go.
Beautiful. All right. And get a cab.
70 might be a stretch.
What's that?
Coming up with 70 might be a stretch.
Well, that's good to see that you're optimistic about the way the growth of the podcast is going.
I said it might be a stretch for now.
Well, if it's over 70, we have to charter something else. Under 70, we can get the dome.
Okay, here's a thought I had today and yesterday, because I noticed there's been a few people that say they're coming to Tom's stock that weren't coming this year. So, and we'd already had 40 people. So fingers crossed, I'm hoping we get to 60 or 70 just so we can see Tom's neck bulge.
Watch his eyes kind of pop out.
Yeah.
A whole new fresh supply of paper bags.
What was that, David?
I said a whole new fresh supply of paper bags to breathe in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right now he's pulled over to the side of the highway.
Yeah, if it's like that, though, he might be thinking a plastic bag.
Why would that be?
Yeah, think about it.
No, I can't. Did I not tell you I had a bad day today?
Yes.
At what point do you think I'll be thinking about anything? I don't even know what Taco Tuesday is, and everybody was going on about it. I felt so removed from the mainstream of life. It was very difficult for me today, not being part of. It'd be like if you had never seen Back to the Future or something like that. So you just went banging on their door and said, "I want to buy your car."
Kind of. Actually, my best friend that I was telling you about, him and one of his other friends met one of the board members from there, and they were talking, and my best friend, being my best friend, said, "Hey, what are you guys doing with Erie 1?" And he goes, "Nothing." He goes, "Would you be interested in selling it?" And he's like, "Yeah." So, so my friend sent me the guy's email and said, email him, talk to him about Erie 1. So I emailed him, and he, expressed my interest. He came back and said, "Well, it's got friction bearings on it, right?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "All right, email this guy who's the GM," and emailed the GM of this railroad, and he came back and said, "It's got friction bearings, right?" I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "Well, let me talk to the board." And in January of 2016, I went out. I got my tour inside, and they told me how much they wanted for it, and then I started. I looked at everything. I did a little bit of investigation, and then came back and said, "All right, I'll do it." And so yeah, that was kind of it. It was. I think they were getting ready to sell it because they actually they listed like 3 other cars shortly after. But I don't want to say I was the catalyst for getting that to happen, but it was, I went and I saw it, and it was all of a sudden all these other ones went up for sale. So I think it was probably kind of thought about, but then when they said, "Well, yeah, we might be able to get some money out of these things," they decided to sell a bunch. And it's mainly stuff that that doesn't fit in Southern Indiana.
Sure. And so, what's the deal with friction bearings?
Well, the friction bearings they you can't interchange to different railroads right now. If I could have friction bearings on my railroad, and my as a hypothetical railroad, and I can do whatever I want with them. But the moment I give it to Norfolk Southern or CSX, I'm going by their rules, and they are very unlikely to say, "Yeah, we'll move a car with friction bearings."
Okay, can you give folks a little idea of why that is, or what's the deal with friction bearings?
It's mainly just a maintenance issue. Friction bearing cars generally have to be stopped every 100 miles or so. Make sure everything's got the lubrication, and they're more prone to hot boxes, stuff like that. Whereas the roller bearings, they don't have to be touched for, they don't have to be inspected. They don't have to be looked at. It's they run by the hot box detectors just to make sure every now and then, but it's a lot more rare to have an issue with them.
Okay, and so when would does anybody here know when friction bearing or when roller bearings came into vogue?
Yeah, they started really getting pushed in the mid to late 50s.
Okay, all right. So,
yep.
But box cars with friction bearings would have to stop every 100 miles or so, even back in
the day, yeah, which was not as big of a deal because you had more frequent yards and everything like that.
Okay.
So now it's you could have a train that would stop only for a crew change between New York and Chicago,
right?
Once or twice, whereas back in the 50s, train from New York along the Erie would stop, in Scranton and Hornell and Salamanca and, all these places along the line. And everything would be checked out.
Cheektowaga.
In Cheektowaga, that's right.
There's going to be there was a sky scorcher in Cheektowaga.
Yep.
Okay, for those of you around the world that don't know why we're going on about that, because both Chris and I and Bruce are from the Buffalo, New York, Toronto area, and there was a guy on Buffalo TV, the ABC affiliate named Irv Weinstein, who is the reporter. And whenever oftentimes when he would report on a fire, he would say there was a sky scorcher in Cheektowaga because it's Buffalo.
Yep.
That's just the way things happen in Buffalo. When the Buffalo Sabres first started playing hockey, Bruce, in the old auditorium, the Odd, they called it?
The old Odd, yes.
Had you ever seen a game there?
I have never been to the Odd.
Yeah, the boards were so weak. The top, if you check the guy at the end in the corner, the top glass would move by about a foot to a foot and a half.
Ooh.
Like that's how flexible the boards were. But
wow.
I digress. So where's the car now?
It's still in French Lick. Sadly. I started the process about a year and a half ago now. I finally met somebody that could actually go in, put new bearings on, put new wheels, upgrade the brake systems to actually move the car by rail.
Okay.
For a long time, I was going to move it by truck.
Right.
Just because every time I talk to somebody about getting new bearings on the car, I'd go into this long discussion with them, and at the end of it, I'd be, okay, so what will it take me to get you up there to take a look at it? He goes, well, I don't do it. Well, who does it? Well, this guy might. And so, okay, so I'd talk to that guy, and it got to the point that I was just like, I'm done. I'm just going to move it by truck, get it home, and I'll deal with it later. So last year, I'll say January of 2019. Yes, I was at the RPCA, the Railroad Passenger Car Association convention, and I was talking to somebody, and we were talking about my car, and he goes, "Yeah, we do that." I go, "You do that?" He goes, "Yeah, we do that." I go, "You physically go to the car, you lift the car, you take the wheels out, you put new bearings on, and you put the wheels in." He goes, "Yeah, we do that." Like, all right, we need to talk more. So, over the spring and summer months, we finally got them up there to take a look and get me a price, and I got the down payment to them, and then in January of 2020, they were up there and they started cutting the old brake systems off, and then everything happened, and my wheels are now sitting in a shop in Pennsylvania with nobody able to work on them.
Oh man.
Yeah. So yeah, everything's a little delayed right now. So we'll see what happens.
So there is some positive progress has begun.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's so they. I don't want to get too technical, but the brake system on it, when I bought it, was UC brakes, which it's a passenger brake, a graduated passenger brake. They, it's a 100-year-old design, and they're cheap. They're somewhat easy to maintain, but they're antiquated. So with my ultimate goal with the car, we decided to put a freight brake system on it.
And your ultimate goal with the car is?
To be able to move it around the country on any of the class ones, just to be able to take it to different scenic railroads.
Okay.
I don't want to deal with Amtrak because of, many, many reasons that I'm sure we don't have to get into at this point. And on top of that, it's just, the price to get a car on Amtrak at this point, you either have to be absolutely loaded or think you're going to make money off of the thing.
Right.
And I'm not absolutely loaded, and I don't have the time to put into it to make money off the car.
Right. Okay.
So like I said, my thing is I want to get it restored. I want to be able to have tourist lines say, "Hey, can we borrow your car for this reason, for this train, for whatever?" And ultimately, I just want to say, "Okay, yes, you pay for it to get there, you pay for it to get back, and I get to ride it as much as I want while it's there."
That seems fair enough.
Yeah. I don't really want much out of it other than to enjoy it and other people to enjoy it.
So does this seem like it's doable?
Yeah. It's it's a big investment. It's not anything I will ever make money off of or make a profit off of. But it's love for the car. It's love for trains. It's every time I go to the car, it's very calming to me.
Right.
Even when I get frustrated with what's going on with it, I can just sit down and just think of what it's going to be when it's done, and I'm calm. I can get back up and I can start working again.
Okay. And what kind of shape is the car in on the inside?
On the in, it was all the soft things like the seats, the carpet, all that stuff that was stripped off the car.
Okay.
The light fixtures were all stripped out of the car. The doors were stripped out, but the walls are there. I did find that in the upper berths, the light fixtures up there are still there. Sinks are there with their fixtures. Toilets are there. It's gonna be a long process to recreate a lot of things and define things.
Sure.
But I kind of have a blank canvas too.
Yeah, and it sounds like something you're looking forward to. You're looking forward to the challenge.
Yeah. It's that's the neat thing. It's I have very few pictures of the inside of the car. Actually, the only pictures I have of the inside of the car are from a TV Guide issue. There was for a brief period of time, an actor owned it, and it was featured in TV Guide.
Of course, it was.
Yeah. So it was. Yeah, it's one of those odd little things that it just happened to show up. So.
All right. Well, I guess that's 37 minutes. I guess that's the end of our show. There's nothing else to talk to him about, is there, David?
Oh, there's plenty to talk to him about because he's just getting going now. So then his next venture, he decided that this didn't keep him busy enough, so he needed to go into the model making business, and acquired JJL models from the estate of the deceased owner,
Joe Laughlin.
Joe, right?
Yep, Joe Laughlin.
And
yep. So
you own a model. You own JJL models.
Yes.
Word on the street is you also own JL Innovative.
That is the word on the street, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Well, let's build up to that one.
Okay.
So my brother and I bought JJL models in Actually, I bought that before I bought the train car. Um, so we got it. JJL, for those who don't know, that was resin manufacturing or resin. They had resin models mainly focused on Erie and Lackawanna. So we got it. We started working on it. We were getting some decent casts from the resin, but as we worked with it, we found out that the molds we had needed to be replaced, which was okay because we thought we had all the masters. So we started making new molds, making new rubber molds. But as we went on, we realized we did not have all the masters to make new molds. So between my brother and I, we talked for a while and said, well, do we want to go for keep doing this resin thing, or do we want to try doing injection molding? So we decided with the injection, we decided to go for injection molding. We ended up getting a small injection molder. Was mainly for prototyping. And we started, we got a CNC machine, so we were cutting the molds. And I might be a little biased, but we were able to inject bodies, these caboose bodies. And I thought they looked pretty darn good. But as we went on, we started trying to work with the trucks and the end rails, and we just were not having very good luck with it. But we kept working with it, trying to do whatever we needed, and decided eventually we needed to get a better injection molding machine. And we did. We actually purchased 3 of them, 3 cheaper used ones, all identical. 2 were functioning, 1 was for parts.
Right.
So we bought them, we paid for them, and about a week later, before we had the chance to go pick them up, the guy sent me a message saying I sold them to somebody else and he refunded all my money. So we were a little bit irritated with that and started looking for more. But it was right around that time that my day job started pushing me to work more and more hours and more out of town. So JJL kind of got put on the back burner for a while.
And do you mind if I ask you what your day job is?
It was land surveying.
Oh, okay. You were a surveyor.
Yeah. So which I love. I love the surveying, and I'm not, most people think of land surveyors as, boundary line, and stuff like that. But I was a little bit more than that. I did a lot of construction staking, laser scanning, more the higher tech side of things. But
Bridge
like I said, what's that?
Bridge layout.
Bridge layout. Probably should take a moment and tell him about that, huh?
Yeah, probably should. But before you do, I have a friend in Florida, Bob.
Yeah.
He's 80 years old, 81, and he's still, I think he acts like he's 65, but he's 81 years old. Drives like the wind. Great guy. He was a land surveyor in Florida, and I play poker with him, and he surveyed a lot of the land all through the mid-Florida. He actually surveyed Disney World and in the Everglades. And one night when we're playing poker, somebody says, well, how often did you see snakes? And he says, oh, every day. And somebody says, well, how many did you kill? And he says, thousands.
Yeah.
So be thankful you weren't a surveyor in Florida.
I am very thankful. Actually, one of the guys that I used to work with, he moved up here from Florida, and he was a surveyor down there. So he's got a few stories.
I'll bet.
But before I was working in the Buffalo area, I was working in central Pennsylvania during the gas boom up in the hills. And our big thing was rattlesnakes.
Okay.
And we were not allowed to kill them.
Oh, yeah, because it's some sort of protected.
Yeah, protected species. And the thing that I found funny was my first day, they actually had rattlesnake training. and it started off with, it's not a matter of if you're going to see one, it's a matter of when you're going to see one. And so, I saw quite a few of them. I'd say over my 3 or 4 years there, I probably saw 20 or 30 of them.
Right.
And we heard several times them rattling in the brush. So and the thing was, there's so many of them, but they're a protected species.
Right.
And so I never understood how there were so many, but they were so protected.
That's like alligator. That's like alligators in Florida. They're protected, and there's 1.5 million of them.
Right, and 1 million people, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So the bridge layout that David kind of mentioned, I don't know if you've heard of Letchworth State Park.
Oh yeah, I've heard of Letchworth State Park. I've been there.
So on the very south end, there was the.
Let's tell people where that is.
Okay, Letchworth is kind of central New York. It's about an hour south of Rochester, New York, and about an hour from Buffalo. Kind of right in that area.
Yeah, so it's not that far from Cheektowaga.
It is definitely not far from Cheektowaga. So anyways, on the south end of the park, there was the bridge originally it was built in 1850, replaced in 1876, and replaced again in 2017, I think it was 2018 when it finished.
Wow.
Anyways, one of my jobs when I was working in Buffalo was to do all the control layout for the new bridge, which was an Erie Railroad bridge originally. Now it's Norfolk Southern.
Right. So control layout is like where the footings would go and stuff.
No, this was just we set a bunch of points out that eventually they'd come back. They'd set on those to do all the other layout.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it was all just reference monumentation. So that was my main thing with that. I also set up the method for monitoring the old bridge while they were building the new bridge. So the new bridge it's an arch span, but they had what they call skew backs on each end of the arch, and they had to cut down in the rock about 70 feet on both sides of the gorge.
Right.
And of course they used blasting. Don't they
call that gorge the Grand Canyon of the East?
No. Okay. Well, yes, they do. I'm sorry.
Well, which is it?
They do. It is referred to that at times. I was thinking down in Wellsboro, PA, they actually call that the Grand Canyon of the East too.
Okay.
Or they call that the Pennsylvania Grand Canyon. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's important not to contradict the host when the host is correct, especially.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry.
So because I've been there, Grand Canyon of the East.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Nope. You are right. I will take my whipping for that one.
All right.
So, but each of those. So when they blasted, before and after they did their blasts for a 200-foot radius, any footer and any rail had to be monitored to make sure there was no movement. So that was one of my jobs early on too, is to set up that whole process. And after they blasted, they basically had trains, one block down, waiting to go. We had to locate everything, calculate everything, and then say, nope, it didn't move. And then they could start running trains again. And they did that. It was pretty much every day during that. Well, I did it a few times, and then they said they had some other people on staff with the construction company that took over later on, because I had to drive an hour down, an hour back, and it didn't make sense for me to sit there all day when they had people that were doing other stuff there that could do it. So unfortunately, I didn't get to stay there the whole time.
So they would blast the rock. Then it was your job to make sure the old bridge didn't move.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'd say, okay, bridge is okay, and then have at it, drive it. Boy, and then you can imagine. How'd you like to be one of those engineers?
Well, thing was, even they had some Norfolk Southern officials there and early on, and they went and they looked at their stuff, and I had to go through and We had a point on each pier, on each footer, and then we had a nail in a tie every 10 feet along the bridge, and we had to locate all of that. And they were always like, "Well, did it move?" I'm like, "I don't know. I gotta download it. I gotta calc it real quick." And it didn't take me more than 10 minutes after I had all my data.
Right.
But they were always like, everybody knew it was fine. So it was kind of a joke to do it, but it was part of the spec.
Well, sure, and I mean, there is a possibility it could move.
Yeah, but it never did.
No, but stuff does fall down occasionally.
Oh yeah, stuff does. So, but
that's a spectacular bridge, because it's partly arch. I guess is the new bridge just the arch bridge, because the old one used to have the tall.
Yeah, the old bridge had the towers.
Yeah.
The new bridge, it has the main arch span, but there's regular I-beam girders that come in on each side. So it's just as long. That arch span that you see is just part of the bridge. There's another 100 to 200 feet on both ends of that arch.
Wow.
You don't see.
Holy
at least from down up by the waterfall.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
that's the Grand Canyon of the East,
I heard that.
Yeah.
I've heard that.
So okay, so you bought JJL models, and have you bought any? And then you bought JL Innovative. Did you buy anything else in there at all?
Well, we bought JL Innovative, but with JL Innovative, we got Durango Press and Railway Express Miniatures.
Okay, well, Durango Press is a going concern, isn't it?
Yeah, I think. I mean, there's not a lot of things have been discontinued from it, but I think.
Time out. Let me ask you a stupid question.
There's no such thing as a stupid question.
Okay. If you own Durango Press, wouldn't you be the guy that knows if there's anything been discontinued?
Well, I'm saying before.
Okay.
Yeah. So, just in the short time that I have owned Durango Press at this point, there's been a few emails asking, are you going to do this? Are you going to do this? Are you going to do this? And we'll probably expand the line more. And really, we're going to expand all of them. That's if I'm not going to buy a company and not introduce new products.
Right, for sure.
So we will have new products for each line. What exactly I can't say right now because I don't know yet.
Right.
So.
Okay. So, but this is all new to you then. So we need to. Did you buy any before we get on to the model stuff? Did you buy any more prototype stuff?
Yes. That I do have a troop sleeper, an Erie. Well, it was a World War II troop sleeper. That the Erie Railroad purchased. I don't know when, honestly. It's we're not finding too much history on the car, other than it was a Erie Railroad signal maintainer's car.
And where would that car have been when you purchased it?
We got that from the Mahoning Valley Railroad Heritage Association in Youngstown, Ohio.
Okay.
My brother purchased. Well, I purchased the troop sleeper. My brother purchased a wood caboose from the Bessemer and Lake Erie.
Right.
And then he also bought a flat car. That would have been the Pittsburgh, Lisbon, and Western. The flat car and the caboose ended up getting donated to the museum in Salamanca, the Salamanca Rail Museum, for us to eventually give rides on them.
Okay.
So, and the troop sleeper is kind of my workshop, I guess.
And where is it?
Right now, the troop sleeper is in Salamanca with the flat car and the wood caboose.
And is there some sort of a scenic railway in Salamanca?
There's not a scenic railway yet. We've got the Salamanca Rail Museum, which was formed in 1984. It's in a Buffalo, Rochester, and Pittsburgh depot in downtown Salamanca. And our goal, it's it's an established museum, I guess. It went downhill. It's been going downhill for quite a while until a few of us got involved and we were starting to make strides to improve it. But there's about a mile of roadbed between downtown and what they call East Salamanca.
Right.
We want to put the track back in and have short rides. So our goal is to fix up the wood caboose. Well, we have several other cabooses too, but fix up some of the cabooses. The flat car would be a open air car, and then get a small engine, and we can have short train rides.
Why don't you get an RS1?
That would be pretty cool, wouldn't it?
It would be very cool. I'd be all over that.
Yeah. I gotta find one. I only know of one.
Yeah, there's one in French Lick, Indiana.
Yeah, that's the one I know of. And I can guarantee they're not going to give that thing up very easily.
I bet you that thing is just a total workhorse.
Yeah, it is actually pretty neat. It's oh god, they got it painted I couldn't even tell you what it's painted right now. I can see it, but that's about it.
Orange and black.
Orange and black. Well, it's an orangish reddish black.
Yeah.
Orange reddish with black, yeah.
Yeah. Did you know the Bessemer and Lake Erie Railroad still exists?
It does.
It's 169 miles long.
Mm-hmm.
139 miles long. I didn't know it still existed. And it's been in operation since, it's owned by CN now, I guess.
Yep.
But it's been in operation since 1869.
Yep, and that's probably about when that caboose was built. No,
wow.
That caboose is probably late 1800s.
So you're storing all this stuff in Salamanca. And is there a yard there or something?
There's a very small yard. We've got so we have 2 tracks. I'm going to say the tracks. We've probably got about 400 foot of track between the 2 tracks now.
All right.
Nothing is connected right now. That mile of track that I talked about, that would eventually connect us back into the world.
Okay. So
that way we can bring in other new equipment, or other equipment, I should say, and get things back out. With that mile of track, we're looking at getting a nice restoration shop.
Right.
Yeah.
So what would it connect you to if you got it connected?
We would connect to East Salamanca, which is currently the Buffalo and Pittsburgh Railroad.
That's a Genesee and Wyoming Railroad, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yeah. Yeah. And hopefully, we can connect to them on that end, and this other end right by the museum is the Western New York and Pennsylvania.
Okay.
With them.
How big of a railroad is it?
I can't give you miles, but they run between Meadville, PA, and Hornell, New York. Well, let me clarify that. Their track is between Meadville and Hornell. They very rarely go east of Cuba, New York. Right. New York. And then they have a north-south route that goes down to Driftwood, PA, and north up to almost Arcade, New York.
And is it owned by anybody?
It's mostly owned by, ownership is questionable on that. It's Western New York and Pennsylvania runs it. Norfolk Southern has some level of control over it, and then there's a kind of a government organization, the Southern Tier Railway Authority or something like that, is like actually owns it. So it's all kind of this gray, who owns it, who controls it type thing. So it's when you deal with them, there's about 20 different levels of hoops you need to jump through.
Okay. Bruce and David, are you guys still here?
I am still here.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. This is pretty interesting, isn't it?
Yes.
I can't get over how many regional railroads there are. That needs to be more investigated, I think, by the powers that be, because there's a ton of small regional railroads across the United States, and it feels like, I was saying to somebody else, it feels like the only 4 railroads that count are the BNSF, the Norfolk Southern, CN, and UP, And yet there's tons and tons and tons of small and regional railroads.
Don't forget CSX.
Okay, there's 5 major railroads.
Right, and all of these smaller ones are less than profitable or less profitable lines that that the other ones have spun off because they don't want to maintain them. To let somebody else run that. We just want to take the freight from A to B.
Yeah, like the impression is in today's world that all there is these big time railroads running freight from coast to coast, when in reality, there's tons and tons of these tiny railroads that are feeding the bigger railroads.
Right.
We need to be more investigative. We need to do investigative reporting. I'm telling you, this hobby is like massive. Nobody has any idea what this hobby is like. Nobody.
I think putting the modeler known as Kelly on that. He seems to have lots of time.
Yeah, let's put the modeler simply known as Kelly on that. I bet you.
He needs to charge him more.
If we had, we could put this on the prototype posse and make them investigate. Okay, so believe it or not, we're running out of time.
All right.
And I want to get to. So how much did the sleeper car cost you? Like, what is wrong with you?
Where do I begin? You need another hour to talk about that one.
Yeah.
So the sleeper was $3,500, I believe.
Okay, and where is it now?
It's in Salamanca. We trucked it in. Trucking it in cost 5 times as much as the purchase price.
I was going to say, how much does it cost to truck a full size railroad car?
Yeah, we trucked in the sleeper and the flat car came in kind of together, and that came to $25,000.
What do you mean, kind of together? Were they on the same truck?
They were the same. We paid for it at the same time.
Okay.
So the split originally was like $10,000 for the flat car and $15,000 for the sleeper, but we kind of looked at it and it's like, no, that's not. So we kind of adjusted what we thought were the prices. So we figured about $5,000 for the flat car and $20,000 for the sleeper.
And where did the sleeper come from?
Youngstown, Ohio.
So not terribly far.
No, it was. I drove that thing enough times you'd think I'd know it. It was about a 3-hour drive.
Okay.
But that was kind of an adventure in itself because with all the permits, you had to go through Ohio, Pennsylvania, and New York, so you had to coordinate all the permits to move it. So the day we went down to move it out of Ohio, I got there and the driver said to me, so we're good in Ohio and Pennsylvania, but we don't have the New York permit. I'm like, okay. So he said, we'll get it as far as we can, and hopefully they'll come in with the permit by the time we get there. So that okay.
Yeah.
So we were just south of Erie, Pennsylvania, and we pulled into a rest area, and he goes, well, we don't have the permit. I don't think it's coming in. Let's find a place to park this thing. So it ended up spending probably 2 or 3 days at a truck stop just north of Erie. So then
did you take it along I-90?
Well, it came. So let's see. It came when I-80 to I-79,
right,
up to I-90 briefly through Erie, and then it came across I-86 when we finally were able to move it into New York.
Oh, okay. I-86. Oh, is that the one that goes to Jamestown, New York?
Yep. Yeah, it's the southerly route through New York.
Yeah, right now I'm impressing David and Bruce with my knowledge of the highways and byways of Western New York and Pennsylvania.
Hey, I'm impressed.
There you go.
I'm impressed you came up with the name Jamestown. So
there you go. And you know who that's the home of?
I do. Do you?
I do. Yeah. How about David? Do you know who that?
I know who that. I've spent some time out there working.
All right, Bruce.
Haven't got a clue.
Lucille Ball.
Yep.
Yep. The home of Lucille Ball, Jamestown, New York.
Yep.
Okay, let's get to this. Let's get to these model companies. Like, so are you full time doing this now?
I am now. So in January at the Springfield show, we walked past the JL Innovative booth, and
Is there something wrong with you? Like you just walk past stuff and go, "Hey, buddy, you want to sell
Kinda.
that?"
Kinda.
Worked so far.
It's worked so far. So he had the sign up saying he was last year at Springfield and business for sale. So my brother and I, who we've been talking about it for quite a while, trying to get both of us out of our jobs and doing something more fun,
right,
for work. And so we looked at that and we said, well, let's at least talk to him. So we talked to him a little bit, and he told us what he was making, and as far as money and everything. And we kept throughout the day at Springfield. We were like, well, support's one of us. And so kept talking, and then decided that we were going to pursue it. So in that was January. Late February, we got on an airplane and flew out to Minnesota, and spent the weekend with them, and then flew back. So we were both at work on Monday morning, so nobody knew what was going on.
Right.
And
did you fly? Did you fly Southwest? Because the official flight attendant of the AML network, she's with Southwest.
I have to apologize.
Okay.
I did not fly Southwest, but it was just because the timing did not work out right.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. So I think that was I think it was American that time.
All right.
Yeah. Sorry, Tracy. But we so then we gave him our offer. He accepted it, and I put my notice in early March.
All right.
And yeah, so then my last day was April. I'm curious now. It was April 10th.
So just basically like 3 weeks ago.
Yep. Yeah. So we spent the next 2 weeks out in Minnesota. I spent last week and up till today unpacking stuff.
So is this your first Tuesday as is this your first Taco Tuesday as a self-employed guy?
Yeah, I think so.
Wow, there you go.
It's definitely my first Cinco de Mayo.
All right, and so you live in Salamanca?
Kind of. I live in Rochester.
Yeah, that's not kind of living in Salamanca.
Well, all my mail gets sent to Rochester.
Right.
But I'm in Salamanca a lot more than I'm up there.
Rochester?
Yeah.
That's the home of Otto Vondrack, the editor of Railroad Model Craftsman. It's Webster Springs is the home of North Coast Engineering, or NCE, the home of our buddy Jim Scores.
Yep, I know both of them.
Okay. So how long does it take you to drive from Rochester? So just so folks know, Salamanca is like close to the southern border of New York State, south of Buffalo.
Correct.
About an hour and a half from Cheektowaga.
Correct. Yep. just under an hour and a half.
It's kind of like there's not a lot out there in Salamanca.
There is not. It's back in the 50s and 60s, it was a pretty happening place, or I should say up to the 50s and 60s. It's Salamanca is the only city that's on a Native American territory. And we never got over a population of 10,000. But it was mainly the railroad and the furniture industry that made this town what it was.
Yeah, it was at one point it was a legitimate going concern.
Oh yeah. And at this point, it's all we've really got left is we got the casino and we got an antiques mall.
and two guys with a growing model railroad business.
Correct, and a small museum that hopefully will be a bigger museum soon.
And is that where you're from? Is Salamanca?
Yep, I grew up near Salamanca. Went to Salamanca High School, and when it was still good, it went downhill for a while. It's starting to get better now.
Okay.
So, yeah.
When I come down 219,
Mm-hmm.
I always take Killbuck Road to cut off that corner.
Yep.
You turn left at Kill.
I know Buck Road very well.
Yeah, maybe you could get them to repave it.
That's a whole nother topic.
And what is that? The railroad goes in there.
Yeah, the railroad that you would cross when you get on Killbuck Road there, that is Buffalo and Pittsburgh.
And there's some sort of big something in there. It seems to be there's some sort of industry in there, isn't there?
Oh yes, yeah. Well, it isn't anymore, but it was a lumber company.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because so they have a reasonable bunch of tracks, and it shows on. They still have a reasonable bunch of tracks. Do they use any of that yard now, or is it pretty much all abandoned?
In East Salamanca, there, I think they have 3 tracks total.
Yeah.
And they've got a Y.
Yeah.
Y they will occasionally use to turn some locomotives. One of the tracks they refer to as the Pittsburgh Main, and it stub ends in front of the station, and they hardly ever use it. But for the most part, they have a train that comes down, comes south from Buffalo, and they get off their train, get on the northbound train, and go back. And then they have one that goes south down to, I think they switch again in either Johnsonburg or Brockway. I can't remember where. Somebody's listening. They're screaming at me for not knowing, but I don't know.
And there's the remnants of an old roundhouse right there too.
Yep. They had a nice big car shop, locomotive shop, and a big roundhouse there.
Big roundhouse.
Yeah, it was a really big roundhouse. I couldn't tell you how many stalls right now, but it was quite large.
Yeah, huge. And you can see it on Google Maps. It's very cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And they still have what is some sort of a station or something there right along the tracks.
Yep. Yeah, that's the East Salamanca station. They don't use that anymore. They used to have their crews work out of there. I think they might have storage in there right now, but they have another trailer for their crews now.
That's crazy. The amount of stuff, the amount of railroad history, David and Bruce around, just crazy. Yep. Crazy. You look at the Google Maps and there's just the foundation of some huge roundhouse that was there. And a car shops, like you say. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So where are we at now with these model companies? Are any of them going to make any money, or?
I think they're going to make money. So JL Innovative, Durango Press, and Railway Express Miniatures. We've got 5 distributors, I think, that we sell to.
Wow.
And we're, even though we've been shut down now for about 2 weeks, we're still getting, the distributor orders are still coming in. Right now the website says we're closed for moving. And we've got, since that went up, we've still gotten almost 20 orders, through the website.
Right.
Half of them we filled before we shut down everything out in Minnesota. But our goal at this point is to, once we get back up and running, to start pushing, online sales direct to the consumer. Instead, we're still going to have the distributors and everything, but we really want to push more sales on the website.
Yeah, and JL Innovative is a well-known company.
Yeah, yep. I was actually, I knew about them, and I didn't really know how well known they were until we started looking at it a little bit closer. And now a lot of people, they've got a lot of good stuff. Laser cut. We'll do our own castings, do our own laser cutting, everything right out of our shop.
Yeah. So, was somebody going to say something? No. Are you guys sleeping or what? Or you just
No.
You're
doing a bang job.
Okay. That's fascinating. Okay, so how do you learn? So are you going to basically learn on the fly how to make all these kits?
That's why we went out to Minnesota for 2 weeks. Went out there, we learned. He didn't show us every little single kit that he does, but it was this is how you cast. This is how you make a mold. This is showed us how to run the laser cutter. Showed us showed us all the steps to produce everything. And then he's got a lot of checklists. this kit gets so many of this and this and this and this. And so it's it's going to be a little bit of it's going to be a little slow for us at first, just until we get to that point that it becomes automatic, like it was with him.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. It's something you got to learn.
It's all new to you.
Correct. Right. I mean, it's, even some of the painting and everything, when I paint, I do one right now, and he's got, 20 that he's doing right then. So it's a whole different process to paint 20 as it is to do one. So, it's just getting into the point that it's, you're a lot quicker with it and you can actually produce instead of just, being, if it takes me, 6 weeks to do a kit at home, no big deal, but I need to make sure I can, pump these things out quick, and that it's just going to take me a little bit to get to that point.
Yeah. So do you have a warehouse or something, or like, is it all in a garage, or where is it?
It's a garage. So my brother and I have been into woodworking.
Of course you have.
Right. So he actually has it's 28 by 48 foot garage shop combination. So this is actually taking over that entire space. So we've shoved all the woodworking equipment off into the corners, and all this stuff is coming in. And our hope is that as we build the business, we'll be able to move all that stuff move the JL Innovative into another building at some point. But for now, the building's there and it's free in a way. So
yeah, man, oh man, good luck.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't feel like you're going to need it.
Well, I will say it's a scary thing when you
quit your job.
You quit your job, you change everything, and then on top of that, the whole world goes into a crisis at the same time. So.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think of that. That happened.
Yeah,
but
yeah, and that's the thing. It was I put my notice in, and then the next week everything hit. Yeah. And I'm like, okay. So once again, my brother and I were talking. It's like, well, we're in it. Let's do it. Let's just keep going with it. And even my now former boss, a little while into it, he's just like, what are you still doing this? And I'm like, yeah, I'm still doing this. And it's just I've got my personal reasons and everything, but it's this people that know me have seen that my change in demeanor.
Okay.
I'm just so much. I'm more relaxed. I'm happier. I'm a little bit more upbeat and everything. It's a exciting time.
Yeah. So your brother lives right beside on Carrollton Road, right?
Yep.
Not far from Interstate 86.
Correct. Yes, it's excuse me. We're actually right between the former Erie and the former B&O tracks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll make a go of this, because it'd be pretty cool to have you make a go of this and then be able to come and visit and everything. So.
Oh yeah, you're welcome to come visit anytime.
Yeah, make a success of this, would you?
I'll try.
All right.
That's my goal.
Try not to spend.
I'm still waiting for your cabooses. So.
Hey! Stop talking about my caboose. So. No, that's the next step though too. Is now that this is my job.
Yeah.
Once we get into the swing of things, everything that's JJL will slowly start getting that brought back into production now that I'm going to have more time to devote to it.
And eventually you'll hire somebody to help you, I guess.
Correct. Yeah, that. I don't think that's too far off, to be honest. It's he had somebody out there working about 30 hours a week.
Oh, really? Eh?
Yeah. So I don't think it's too far off. I'll have somebody helping me out as well. And the more that they can do, the more I can start doing more of the design and the future development of stuff.
And does your girlfriend know you did this?
She does. She's I think she's okay with it. So it was one of those things. I said to her, as things started going, I was talking to her about it, and she wouldn't say too much. And I just said, so one day I just go, so what do you really think about this? She goes, I am not going to stop you from following your dreams.
There you go.
I was like, okay. So I don't know if that was her way of saying, I don't approve of this, but I'm not going to be the one to tell you no. But since she didn't say I don't approve of this, I kept going.
It's an interesting part of the world that you live in there, or where the shop is.
It is. It's kind of middle of nowhere, but it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful country.
Yeah. It's the only reason I live in Rochester is because of my girlfriend.
Okay.
And she can't go anywhere because of her children with their father.
Right.
So she has to stay there, so we can't really move. But we've kind of discussed it, and she's not opposed to moving back here, but I don't know if she's really for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she actually grew up here too.
She actually grew up where?
She grew up here too. She grew up here in Salamanca.
Oh, what's her name?
Yeah. Jolene.
Oh, hey Jolene, how you doing?
She's not here, but I'll pass that on.
Yeah, I know. So, well, I thought maybe you might have her listen. You might, you in your excitement, she might. A lot of people go, "Hey, you want to listen to this?"
Yeah. I don't know about that. I don't know if she's supportive. She's very supportive. I will say that.
But listening to you talk for an hour and a half would just about drive her crazy. Is that it?
Wow. She barely listens to me talk for 5 minutes at times.
Okay, there you go.
No, she's been a very good girlfriend. It's even either the train cars, I should say, the speeder, everything that I do, she's just she lets me do it.
You got a speeder too?
I've got a speeder and I've got a high rail truck as well.
Of course you do.
Yeah.
I think she's a saint, actually. But
yeah, exactly.
She puts up with me. She might be a saint.
So you guys are the last house and garage before you get to the crossover where the two railroads cross over.
No. You're so you're looking at Google Earth.
Yeah, I am.
Can you see a church there?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, so you see the two railroads.
Yeah.
They cross.
Yeah.
And they're going north, and you've got a whole bunch of houses.
Yeah.
On the west side of the road there.
Yeah.
You see a group that there's like one house right near the road, one house right near the tracks, and then there's one kind of in between to the north of them.
Yeah.
And there's a big garage there and some other little garages right by the road.
Right.
Us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Yeah, those three houses right there, we call it the Costello Compound.
Or you own them all, do you?
Yeah, so the one right by the tracks is the one that I grew up in.
Of course.
The one to the north is where my brother now lives, but it was our aunt. Prior to that, it was our grandparents.
Right.
And then the other one right by the road was our cousins for a long time. But now our family owns all three of them there.
Oh, all right, cool.
Yeah.
And somebody owns a red truck or a red SUV.
That would be my brother's.
Okay.
You probably see a black truck in the yard there. That's my dad's.
Yeah, the red one's on fire, so you might want to check out that.
Oh, well, good thing he got rid of that earlier this year.
Yeah. Okay, so you own, which rail speeder do you own?
I have a Southern, I've got a Southern M9. And then technically I don't have it in my possession yet, but I have an Erie, I believe it's an ST2. So that one is our cousins out near Almond, which is near Hornell. That's been sitting on their property for years. And finally last summer, the one guy goes to me, why don't you just take that thing at some point?
There you go.
So I have to go pick it up.
Push my arm.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a freebie.
Do either of them run?
The M9 does. It's I gotta do a couple things from being stored over winter. But if they actually have any trips this year, it will be on at least one of them.
Have you used it?
Yes, once.
Okay.
I took it out to Willard, Ohio, last September, I believe it was.
That's something I always wanted to have, was a speeder.
Yeah, it's a neat little thing. It's you don't get to use it very often, but it's fun. It's very fun. It's one of our other friends has some as well, and I was co-owner of that one for a while. So I took that to a few different places last year, and then this M9 thing came up, and it was so we kind of we worked a few things out. I own the M9 now, and he owns the MT19 that we had together.
All right, and does the MT19 run?
Yes, that's he's retired, so he has plenty of time to work on things. So the MT19 is it runs very well. I've taken it, a couple hundred miles myself at this point.
Wow.
And he's actually just finishing up another one.
Oh yeah.
Another MT19. So.
And how much do they go for, those things?
Well, the ones that we have, so we bought them. Let's see, that MT19 originally, I think we paid like $600 or $700 for it.
Wow! And then you fixed it. You fixed it all up.
Fixed it all up. It's he has not repainted that one yet, but with everything that he's added onto it and how it runs now, it could probably go for $4,000 to $5,000.
All right. And you have a high rail truck.
Yeah, the high rail truck was another freebie. It was so it's one of the old the Conrail ones, the big, the kind of bread truck looking front to it.
Right.
So it was out in Long Island, and it was a guy owned it that was in a residential neighborhood, and the neighbors complained about it. So it was so they had to get rid of it. They looked at giving it to a couple other railroad scenic lines and everything, and they weren't really interested in it. So at the time I had contacted them, and I got an email on like a Wednesday saying, when can you get out here to get this thing? I said, well, I'm not sure, maybe this weekend, maybe the following weekend. And I got back, well, if you're not here this weekend, it's going to be scrapped. So I took half of Friday off. I got myself a trailer. I drove out to Long Island, picked it up Saturday, and brought it back.
That thing, what kind of a trailer did you haul that thing on? That's a pretty big truck.
Yeah, it's the thing. We figured it was right about 10,000. Well, we figured between the trailer and the truck, we were right about 10,000 pounds, my legal limit that I can haul.
Right.
So there's a company or a hardware store rental company for equipment in Hamburg, New York. They have a 14,000 pound trailer that they rent out. Wow. So I went and I got that thing and took it down there.
What kind of truck? What are you driving? What truck are you pulling? What did you pull the high railer with?
I have a Chevy 2500.
Okay. How many? What year is it?
2015.
How many miles does it have on it?
It has 180,000 miles on it at this point.
I'll bet it does.
Yeah, that thing. Yeah.
I'll bet it does. So is that your main? Is that your daily driver?
It is right now. I've got another little commuting car, I'll call it. But it's the brakes have the brakes aren't good on it right now. That needs to be fixed. I can do them myself. Just I can't do them in Rochester, so I have to take it in, and I just have not had the chance to get in.
Why can't you do them in Rochester? Is there bylaws or something?
It's more the driveway that I have is sloped. So there's no way I'm putting that up on a jack in that driveway.
Okay, so what's your daily drive? What's the little car with the brakes?
That's Chevy Trax.
That's a sweet ride.
Yeah, it's I mean, I think it's more of a girl car, but
Yeah.
I do like it. I do like it. It's very zippy. I will say that.
Oh, it's zippy.
Yes, I've observed the speed limit on that several times.
Is the 2500? Is it diesel or gas?
It's just gas. At the time I got it, I wasn't hauling like I do now. If I were, I would have sprung for the diesel at the time though.
So since you bought your Chevy 2500, you've bought the Erie 1 passenger rail office car. What do you call it?
Erie 1. It's a business car.
Business car. You've bought a sleeper car.
Yep.
Flatbed, a caboose, speeders, high railer.
Yep.
3 or 4 model railroad manufacturing companies.
Yep.
You've been busy for the last 4 or 5 years.
I have. It's and on top of that, I worked full time.
And somehow you found time to drive 185,000 miles.
Well, that was getting to and from work most of the time.
Where did you work? Where did you work, in Atlanta or something?
Buffalo.
You worked. Okay, so you drove from Rochester to Buffalo.
Yep. Yeah.
Is there anything to survey in Buffalo?
Not anymore. Well, when I started, you probably are close enough that you've heard of the Solar City or Riverbend plant. Yeah. So when I first moved up to Buffalo, that was my project. I was on that project every day for about 2.5 years, and that was a very fun project. It really it made me re-interested in surveying. I guess.
It got your juices flowing for surveying.
Correct.
And then you quit.
And then I quit. No, I definitely I did not quit surveying. I will say that. I really do enjoy surveying, and even to the point that here at the museum, excuse me, I've surveyed everything here on my own time, even laser scanned the place, and it's so I really do enjoy it. It's just I did not enjoy how much I was traveling, because it was I'd say for the past 2 years I've been in hotels more than I've been in my own bed.
No, that's because you keep traveling around buying stuff.
No, that's because of work. So I do know I will not be paying for a hotel for the next couple of years, thanks to all the points that I've gotten.
Yeah, I'll bet. So, what's your hotel of choice?
Well, I've been doing the IHG hotels, which is your Holiday Inn Express type places.
Okay, all right. That's where our buddy, our hard part. That's where he stays, at the Holiday Inn Express.
Yeah, no, Holiday Inn Express. They usually have a good breakfast. They're usually pretty nice hotels. You really can't go wrong with those.
Hey, Bruce.
Hello.
You haven't asked any questions tonight. I would have thought you'd been.
I've just been listening, and let him go. He's on a roll, man.
So, anyways, I was just going to say I don't know anything about surveying.
Yeah. Okay.
But I did stay in a Holiday Inn Express last night.
There you go.
That's usually your joke. I was waiting for you to jump in on that one.
See, I took surveying at school, so I did know something about surveying.
You seem like you're a little off your feed there, Bruce.
No.
Okay. All right. That's usually your joke. I just stayed at a Holiday Inn Express. Back me up on this, David. Has he not said that more than once in his life?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, Bruce, what did you do today? You're way off. Bruce, you are like way off in some. Are you watching? Has the NHL started up again and you're watching the game?
I haven't been sleeping well the last few nights. So I'm getting kind of trying to stay awake and listen.
You're Logie.
I'm Logie, and it's not queso Logie.
Okay, all right. There you go. All right, well, we got to wrap this up. We've had fun. We hope that we will, of course, talk to you again, Chris, because we'll be interested in the continuing saga of what's Chris going to buy next.
Hopefully not much. I'm running low on money. That's why I got to get JL going so I can make more money.
Yeah, exactly.
buy more stuff.
Yeah, you got to get JL Innovative going. You got to work hard on that.
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting. So what train shows do you think you'll do?
We'll definitely be continuing to go to Springfield, and then the national train shows. And that really was the only things he was going to.
Right.
But we will be adding Train Fest. We're thinking about Timonium, and then we're kind of up in the air. It's we gotta make sure that it's going to be profitable to go.
Yeah, and you got to get that 2,500 over 200,000 miles.
Well, that's the I find it funny. So when we were at Springfield, he gave us a list of everything that the business came with.
Right.
And so we were looking down the list, and at the bottom of the list was a 2001 Honda Odyssey.
Wow.
And I'm like, yeah, no, we'll just be selling that thing or junking that thing. So we because that's what he takes to all the shows, and he stripped out the seats and everything, and so it's just an empty minivan.
Right.
So we got there and we saw the thing, and I'm just like, there's no way that's a 19-year-old car. This, the outside of it is it looks immaculate.
Right.
And then we actually, when we were out there this past, after we started loading and everything, because my brother drove his truck out with my 26-foot trailer. So once he hooked up to that, we just started driving this minivan back and forth from the hotel to his place. It's a nice little car.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, he says he took it from Minnesota to Springfield back in January. I don't see why I'm not going to take it to Springfield and California next summer and everything. So
what's in California, the Santa Clara show?
Santa Clara, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, there you go. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're he said to his wife, if this thing dies, we'll just we'll call the local junkyard wherever we're at, and we'll get a U-Haul truck, and we'll just throw everything in the U-Haul and
keep on going.
Keep on going. So, but no, the thing's got 250,000 miles on it, and it's it ran perfect when we drove it.
Perfect.
So,
Bruce,
I won't be taking the 2,500 anywhere.
Bruce, you want to give out our email address?
Sure. Our email address, because this has been a wonderful talk, and we want to know what you want to know from Chris, because he's told us a whole pile of stuff, and there's got to be more. Modeler's Life, Modeler's the 1L, modeler'slife@gmail.com.
What'd you think, Dave?
I thought it was great.
You two guys.
Although the one thing Chris had, I don't recall him mentioning, he has a Facebook page for his business car.
Yes, I do for a business car. That's you can find it at, I believe, Erie Business Car Society.
So you're a member, you're a Patreon member of the podcast.
I am, yes.
How'd you find it?
Find Patreon or find the podcast itself?
The podcast.
That would be thanks to Mr. Start there.
Oh, all right, yeah. Cool.
Yeah, he
I have to plead guilty to that one.
Yeah,
I dragged him to the AML dinner and kind of introduced him to everybody 2 years ago, and kind of said, well, we're here because of the podcast, and got them listening. And
so what do you
when you talk a million miles a day,
understand all the jokes.
What's that, Chris?
I said I had to start listening so I could understand all the jokes from the dinner.
Oh, okay. Well, we're not trying to be funny.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. We have a website, modelerslife.com. If you go there, you're going to see a link to our Patreon page. This is one of our episodes, which is free. But if you join Patreon for a minimum of $5 a month, you'll get an extra 4 podcasts. Plus, you can join our virtual chat room and have all kinds of fun and all kinds of extra stuff, like viewer mail and fans posts and all kinds of stuff. And I think that's pretty much it. I think we've covered it all, have we not?
I think so.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, on the website, if you there's a picture of Bruce,
yes,
a moderately agitated mail boy in a particularly agitated state, And if you click right on that picture, you don't even need to know the address. You can send us an email that way.
Yes.
Which makes it easier for everybody. Chris, so at the end, at the appropriate moment, you have to say happy rails to you.
All right.
Are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay. Well, Chris, as we close the barn doors on another episode of A Modeler's Life and the sun slowly sets over the back 40, I guess there's nothing else left to do except for you to say...
Happy rails to you.
While in Busted Knuckle, guests of A Modeler's Life podcast stay at the Casa del Sol Motor Court and Inn, where late-night dancing at the Rumba Room is a magical event to be experienced.
It's another Lincoln Homer.